Hey guys, welcome back to OverTakes. This is Misfit, and I will be running a little solo mission today. Kel, unfortunately, cannot be with us today to do our Stage 3 Playoff Preview. So I'm going to be running solo. So we're going to dive into the matches a little bit, talk what we think is going to happen, and, you know, maybe there was a little bit of news today, not really that much of anything going on, but we'll talk about that. First, it is Thursday, and we just had a developer update. Really said nothing that nobody didn't know. They're switching around the summer games, and the hero's going to be later, and it's a him. Okay, so it's pretty much everything speculated. And it was basically a developer update to tell us there was going to be developer updates. It made no sense, really, to me, to even go out there. I think it was just basically because everyone's like, what the fuck is going on other than that? But as far as Overwatch League news goes, okay, so this is going to be possibly interesting. We have Philadelphia allegedly looking to make a trade with the Guangzhou Charge, and it looks like they would send them Fraggy, and in return get Kib, who's a DPS player. Obviously he's seen a little bit of action and not much in this stage, but they might want another, DPS for their rotation. He's also a decent Brigida from what I saw and remember. And Fraggy is, he's a decent main tank. It could be something that they need. They're having a little issue going on there. Fraggy might help them out. But that is all for any really solid news or anything like that. So let's dive into the playoffs for Stage 3. So we have, starting out tonight, this evening, we have the Houston Outlaws taking on the Vancouver Titans, then the Shanghai Dragons taking on the New York Excelsior. And then Friday, we have Seoul taking on San Francisco, and the Valiant taking on Hangzhou. Now, these times are a little bit later. The Saturday ones are ridiculous for if you're on the East Coast, but I guess we're going to get a dose of what everybody else has to deal with across the country. I just don't like the flip that these guys are going to have to do. I guess it's not terrible. They get a night's sleep or whatever, but, the second semifinal on Saturday starts at, the first one starts at 10 p.m., and then the second one starts at 1 a.m. That's really late, but I'll be watching the second one in the morning, that's for sure. And then the overall Stage 3 final game is going to be on at 4 p.m., and we can expect a nice, heavy dose of why are you destroying America with your video games? These guys can't throw baseballs, because it's on ESPN2. Home of such classic sports as competitive fishing, poker, and, darts. So shut the fuck up and just deal with it. Change the channel. How about that? But anyway, let's get into the matches. I don't like how late they start, but I do understand. And obviously, we have a large Chinese fan base, so, and a couple of Chinese teams in there. And, a couple teams from Korea, full Korean teams, and I get it. But I can complain about it. I don't have to like it. I mean, it is what it is. All right, first match, we have Houston taking on Vancouver. So, obviously the map pool is going to be decided going in. So we don't really know what it's going to be. And I would assume, map pool aside, going in, I'm thinking Vancouver is going to win. I think Houston has played better. I know I do a lot of, I kind of meme on them a lot, but it's all in fun. I don't really care. I just like riling people up a little bit. Anyway, I think they could take a map or two, and depending how Vancouver's very, very quick to adapt to things. If Houston can maintain a high level of Sombra play and don't get out, Stitch doesn't out Sombra them when they're going on 1v1s and things like that. Well, mirror matches. I think they need to keep it fresh and keep them on their toes. I do like when they go into these comps and they run things like Jake on Fire, or they run, because what I think some people are finally starting to realize is that Muma is a fantastic fucking wrecking ball. And you can run a whole bunch of different comps with that, especially with the versatility you have in your DPS line. Place where I always get worried is as long as Raucous is on Ana, they're okay. The Blank Bonnie, I don't know which one. They're kind of okay. They're not great by any stretch, but their supports worry me, especially when you're going against Vancouver, whose supports are out of this fucking world. With you have Twilight, probably the best, if not the second best Ana in the league. Him and Jonak. You can throw a couple other people in there as well. Vancouver is gonna want. They're gonna try and bully him, and I think the one thing Houston needs to do is not conform to what Vancouver wants to do. Just do what you do, and they'll give him a good fight. I don't think Vancouver's gonna, like I said, I don't think Vancouver's gonna lose. You have too many really, really good players, and they adapt. Like I said, they adapt fast. But I do think Twilight and also Slime, or not Slime, Stitch are going to be the two big guys for Vancouver in this matchup. I think Stitch needs to show everyone how much he's improved and how really good he is actually on Sombra when he's in there. He's going up against one of the best in Dante, and a lot of people have brought up like a lot of things about, you know, some of these guys playing Sombra and how they play them. These two guys are really good because they don't do the same thing twice. I think what happens is some of these teams that have their Tracer specialist, and not like Dante, who was good on both to begin with. I mean, he's been playing Sombra way more than some of these other guys have. So, and that's to Houston's advantage, and they're finally using it. But with some of these other guys, they're using Tracer pathing that, you know, kind of a little bit of ways that you do things with Sombra, but they're going about things as a Tracer, and I think some of it is people are kind of starting to figure out what they're doing, like guys like Sabiobi and a couple of the other guys that are running on other teams. That's going to be a key thing to watch is Stitch and Dante, and also Twilight. He has the power to control and take over the game on Ana. That's how good he is. That's one of the things, like he's one of those guys with the sleep darts. You're just like, what? And, you know, just the damage isn't, to me with Ana, damage is secondary to everything else. The healing, sure, but it's, you know, the biotic grenades, the sleep darts, you know, using the ultimates and knowing when and what to use it for. You know, bumpers down, you nano boost them. You don't have to go like ranked and, you know, well, it has to be a Dragon Blade, Nano Blade thing. You know, it does boost somebody's health up, and you know, you can save a teammate and keep the fight going. That's one thing that he does all of that stuff on Ana. It's just incredible. And there are other guys. I mean, we haven't seen, you know, they've been subbing in Stitch and taking out Janu, or moving things around, I should say. But look for, I think it's going to be a 3-1. I think Houston will put up a good fight in this. I do think that Houston is vastly improved. Could they win? It's not out of the realm of possibility. The probability of them winning is pretty low. I wouldn't be 100% shocked if they beat them. Let's just put it that way. And I'm not a fan of Houston. I'm not homering for them. But I think Vancouver is the superior team just all around. And I think they will take the first match probably 3-1. And you know what? Good for Houston that they got to this point. You know, they figured out what they needed to do, and they went 5-2 this stage, and you know, and they're in the stage playoffs. So, and anything can happen. You know, any given Sunday scenario, you know, from the NFL. You know, one team can beat another. No one thought the Giants were going to beat the Patriots in 2007 either. It's not quite, you know, that desperate, but you know, it's close. So I'm looking for Vancouver to move on. So let's talk the second match of tonight. We have the Shanghai Dragons taking on the New York Excelsior, which I'm excited for this one. I think this is going to be a lot closer than people think. I also think that people have been sleeping on New York. I just think that Shanghai, I'm excited to see it. The thing is, Shanghai is very, very unpredictable. Look at last week. They went into the Atlanta homestand. They got destroyed by the Charge. And then they went and they buried Philly. Well, maybe not buried. They handily beat Philadelphia. New York, yes, their schedule was weaker. They've only lost 2 games, and were they the best GOATS team? No, they did enough. They did what they needed to do to win, and now they're at a point where they can run different DPS comps, and especially against Shanghai, they're not going to be running 3-3. They're going to be running some Sombra with Sabiobi. The one thing could throw a wrench into their plans is if they want to use any kind of diva, that's where it gets tricky, because running Sabiobi on Debra. Or Libero on Diva doesn't work as well as them having Meko in there. I do that all the time. Having Meko in there, just, straight running Diva, but Sabiobi's the superior Sombra, so you look for some interesting roster switcheroos there. Shanghai, of course, comes in. They have brought Envy in. It's looking a little rough when he's been in the lineup, when they're trying to run a Diva, which they haven't really been running a lot. You've been seeing Ding just jump onto Diva because he is one of the best Sombras in the league. There's, him, Dante, are my top 2. Stitch is up there. There's a couple other guys that are really good too. Shax has looked really good. You can keep going. Everybody's got someone that's decent enough, at least in these teams that are playing. Except for maybe San Francisco. But if you say Sombra, they're being tanked. His head literally flies off his body and they lose. So we'll talk about them in a little while. But here's the thing that I like about Shanghai. I'm like more and more liking how this team is playing. It's just watching Ding and DM play different stuff. Ding reminds me of Libero. And this is where I'm going with this. I can't wait to see how these two guys go against each other. What they're going to play. There's going to be times where, Libero's a really good Pharah. So is Ding. There's just going to be a lot of back and forth, the heroes that they're picking and stuff like that. I think we're going to see a very, very interesting match here. The one thing that I will give, the 2 places where I will give New York superior over anything that, and even though Gamsu is good, Mono he's like an MVP candidate main tank for me. And then, of course, you have Jonak. And Onimo is good. I think isn't as good as some of the other main supports in the league. But I think in this matchup, him and Jonak have the edge. And I also think Mono has the edge. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting match. I want to see something out of that line for Shanghai when they have Gamsu and Envy in there. They did win a map last week with that, so maybe it's getting a little bit better. I want to see, because at some point, if we go into 2-2-2, like beyond this match, but in this matchup, that could be, they might not run that just because it is kind of weak and they're not coordinated with them enough, and they might just keep running what they were running before. And I think they might have incorporated him in the regular season games just to get, Envy a little acclimated before the break. He might not see any time in this. Who knows? But I want to see if they run that. I want to see how it looks against a team like New York, because they played the Valiant and they got beat when they ran that. I think they lost 2 maps, and then they lost with Hangzhou, and I think he played 1 map in that. So yeah, it's just a little shaky right now on that when they're running Envy and Gamsu. I think one thing Gamsu can do that is better than what New York does is the ball. He's a better ball. I would be looking for more of those comps from Shanghai. The ones that they were running a lot of, the Wrecking Ball, Pharah Mercy, probably, an Ana or a Zen, depending on what New York runs. Which a lot of times if you run a Pharah, they're going to run a Diva. So they'll probably run Zenyatta. But, it's the whole back and forth who you picking kind of thing. I can't wait to see that. New York has a lot to prove, though, And so does Shanghai. But New York has a lot to prove to shut people up. And I think they started doing that and like they flipped a switch when they put Sabiobi in there. He is a leader for that team. I think that's one of the things that they were lacking. Yeah, they lost with him in there last year. But where I'm going with that is he seems like a calming influence on that team. You know, when things are, not that they're like, you know, major tilting freaks like San Francisco does or like Dallas does on occasion. But I think they're going to, with him in there, and he is like focused, I think this could be his last run. You know, it's like one of those things like he might just want to just take over and just, you know, he wants to win the championship because, you know, there's a lot left undone from last year. But I think they have a lot to prove, and I think that they're my pick in this. I think it's going to go 5. I do think it's going to go 5. I think Shanghai will have a good game. I think they will be together. Like, they will be together. They won't have one of those off weeks. It is New York, so there is an intimidation factor. You know, they did, maybe they own one, but I think New York is just the better team right now, and I think they're going to beat them 3-2 in the second match for Thursday. Okay, so we're going to move on to Friday. Now, I'm going to go over this, these matches, the first 4 matches, and then we will probably come at you with something prior to Saturday's match at 10 p.m. We'll probably have something to preview the rest of it. Like I said, I'm running a solo here, and I'm just going to give you, you know, my thoughts and everything on the first 4 matches of the stage playoffs, and then we'll cover the semis, and then we'll look on Twitter and look on social media to see if we're going to do anything live as far as the game goes, because I'm pretty sure that I will be able to do something. If you guys are, you know, into that, you know, definitely comment down below. Come on in. We'll talk about the match, you know, hang out, talk about other things going on in there. But anyway, let's dive into Friday. So, another interesting match. I mean, all these matches are fantastic to start off. I think the Houston-Vancouver match is going to be better than people think. You hear that, Houston fans? I'm giving you a little cred. There you go. I just like starting fires sometimes. I like getting people fired up. Anyway, let's go over the matches on Friday. Let's talk about Seoul and San Francisco. So, Seoul. Here we go with Seoul. Let's talk about them first in this, because, you know, Fisher's no longer on the roster, so that is helping them out immensely. And I think we're looking at, and I had been saying that I think Marvell played that meta better, but maybe he just plays better, period. We've been seeing a lot more of Illicit Highly, instead of Rujay Hong, and Jessica's been playing a little bit too. Jessica, here and there. But I like the Marvell and Michelle lineup. I'm one of those people that likes Fleta in there a lot, because Fleta is, to me, I mean, he's one of those guys like Prophet. Like I always say, he's just so versatile that, you know, you want him in there, especially now when you're flipping around, doing different things. And Fitz has been playing well as well. I liked it when they ran the 2 lineups, and, you know, they were doing a double lineup thing. But I like it kind of now that they've narrowed it down to 1. They had a little wonky patch there a soul patch, let's just, no pun intended, that was weird. A normal soul, what the fuck is going on thing going on there. But they've, you know, come around. They're, you know, quietly doing really well. And I think that this matchup, this could be where Seoul, you know, proves to be a threat to everybody. Like, it just shows them, hey, look, we are good. This isn't fluky stuff. You know, this isn't stuff where we're not being Seoul. Because, you know, they are the 6th ranked team in the league as far as, you know, they're 12-9, like about 900 other teams. Well, at least 5. They're the 5th ranked team in the league. I mean, they're tied, basically tied with the Gladiators. They're 1 game back of the Gladiators in the standings. And, you know, they're not too far off. And I think that San Francisco right now, the team that they're playing, is far off. I don't think they're ready for what's going on. I think they committed to GOATs, which is fine, and it was great. But they had no backup plan. a backup plan that involved Sombra, playing with Sombra, playing against Sombra. And, someone needs to sit the main tank down and say, calm the fuck down. Play the game. Yes, Sombra's in there. And it's not an instant win. We've seen this. Sometimes people EMP and they don't necessarily get everyone. They don't get all the kills that they need to. You have to follow up. Instead of having a hissy fit when you get hacked, do what you have to do to counter that. This is falling into the trap that everybody got into, and this is aside from San Francisco. This is falling into the trap that everybody got into with GOATS. Is like, you can't beat anything against GOATS. GOATS is GOATS. GOATS is GOATS. No one can beat Sombra. You can't beat EMP. EMP is overpowered. EMP. You can't beat it. You can beat it. Takes time. You gotta figure it out. But there's ways around beating it. Instead of just... Sometimes these coaches, I always have a problem with it. There's some of them are really good. Like Krusty's really good. He'll figure this out. The players just got to listen to him. Is all that amounts to, and not lose their mind and not get tilted. Because they're running this Baptiste GOATS thing, or whatever they're running with Baptiste, running with Rascal on there, better than anybody. Because Rascal, he's a hit scan, or I believe, or at least a DPS player, and he's murdering people and healing. He's doing a really good job of healing and all that. But back to Super and the tilting and the whatnot. I think, and one of the things I think Seoul can take advantage of in this, I'm going out on a limb here. Everybody else is going to take San Francisco. I'm taking the Seoul Dynasty in this match, and for a lot of the reasons why I've said. I think San Francisco's not ready for this. I think they're tired. They're spent. They did have a week off, so did Seoul. I think that they come into this and I think they win. Reason being, Seoul is kind of rolling right now. San Francisco's trying to figure out what they are. Because they invested so hard into GOATS and they committed to it. Last stage, they worked their asses off just practicing to beat Vancouver. I think right now, I don't think that they're fully invested, and I think they're going to lose this match 3-2. I'm probably the only person on the planet that's saying that, but I like what Seoul is doing. I like their lineup. I like the fact that they're not afraid to run some different stuff. San Francisco is reluctant to run different stuff right now. I think that's one of their biggest vices that they have, along with the tilt factor and he does make it like a joke, but it's not a joke. When you see them on stage, you can see the actual tilt starting. You can't have your leader being tilted. And I also think that when it comes down to it, I think we are seeing what a lot of people thought San Francisco was before the season is starting to come into fruition now. Yes, they're really good. Are they? I think they're behind right now. I think Hangzhou is better than them overall. I think the Valiant are creeping up on them. And records aside, I think Seoul is creeping up on them. I think New York is better than them. I just think that I think their time is over, is what I'm getting at. They need to. Now we get the 2-2-2 lock, which we'll never find out until, Wednesday before the season starts. If we get that 2-2-2 lock, my outlook could change on that. Because I think, you get into a situation where you can run Striker, you can run Architect, you have some of these other guys on your DPS line that you can run in there. You're going to see a lot different stuff. And, you have, and I'm not saying they're not talented. I mean, you got Violet playing unbelievably, on Zenyatta, and he's decent enough on Anna and other stuff, and Moth is really good, Super's really good. Choi Hyobin is probably the biggest, most improved player that I've seen playing, from last year to this year. He's unbelievable. And, I'm not saying they're bad, and Sinatra's incredible on Zarya. Incredible on Zarya. Don't know how good he's going to be on everything else coming up, but for this match, yeah, I think Seoul, they might not outmatch them on paper, but I think the way they're playing right now, I think Seoul beats them 3-2. I think they get them in the end. I think it's going to be very close, very hard fought, and I think Seoul behind their Sombra play is going to beat San Francisco. The only things that would worry me is if Seoul starts to try and mirror when they're trying to run 3-3, they're trying to run mirror comps to San Francisco. You can't. It's the same thing with Houston. Houston learned their lesson with that with Vancouver. You don't run a mirror comp against Vancouver or San Francisco. That's how you go away from that. But that's my thoughts on the first game on Friday. Let's dive into the last semifinal game. We are going to talk about the match that's going to be unbelievably good because these teams are even. We've talked a lot about both of them recently. But the last time they played, it was a C9 away from the Valiant winning. Really, it comes down to it. I watched it a couple times. I watched the other match earlier in the year. It was also good. That was when the Valiant went 0-7. They also went 0-7 against a lot of really good teams, and I think that helped them out. They also had Too Smart for Goats support on the bench, but that's a whole nother story. So let's talk about this one. This one's going to be fun. No doubt. We are not going to we're going to get some 3-3 in this, but you're going to see all the variants are going to come out. You're going to have, Hangzhou is going to be running, things with Gushui, and, the boys are going to be doing a lot of, Winston Goats. His Winston is unbelievable. And his Reinhardt's good. He's just good all around. They're going to run Winston Goats. They're going to run the Somber Goats. They're going to run all of the whole gamut they can run. And, the Valiant have picked up that game a little bit, but I like the other stuff that they're doing too. They're running, things like Somber Goats. I think the biggest thing about them is the communication problems have gone away, and apparently putting, Kariv back in his preferred support position instead of DPS has made a world of difference because he is an unbelievable Ana. He's a smarter Zenyatta player than Izayaki. Let's just be honest about that. And Shax, who they brought over in the trade with the Mayhem. Fact fiction. One thing they have pretty much right now, they have one Korean player on their roster who's Kariv, whose English is really good, who can communicate with them. So they have their communication down. They look way better. They look way more organized, and I don't know what their coaching staff was doing before, but they were obviously a team that was not down with what was going on because you could tell by watching them play. But they've brought it all the way around 0-7 to a 5-2 stage. And currently they're sitting, right here in the stage playoffs. Yes, they're the 6th seed. That's okay though. They're actually a couple more wins, and there's teams ahead of them and Houston for that matter. In the regular season, you're going to be talking about them in the play-in tournament, which would be a miracle, but we'll see. So this matchup is going to be another close one. And the things that I noticed in this is IDK is an absolute beast. I watched especially if you guys haven't tried the replay viewer, do it because the last match they played 2 weeks ago now is up there, and just watch. Just pick players you can and watch. I like watching them from above and spinning the camera around and seeing, what's going on around them. And then going into the viewer or the first person view, and then see how they react. And his reactions and the way he moves around and the way he does things on Lucio is dumb. There's no other way to put it. His brain is well beyond mere mortals on that hero. He is going to be huge. Also, now for Hangzhou, one of the things is Adora has been playing a little bit more. I don't know what's going on. Maybe someone can tell me, inform me in the comments. I think I missed something where I have not seen Crystal in there in a bit, but that's okay. Adora's been playing really well. Been doing, picking it up, and Godspeed has been doing the flip flopping on the Sombra and the Zarya, and that it's been absolutely fantastic. The maps I don't think are going to matter in this one. A couple of other ones like Vancouver and Houston, the maps are going to dictate what gets played at the start. I think these two teams are versatile enough and do enough different wacky, crazy comps. Not even wacky, crazy. Let's just call it, just regular comps. And they're going to come out and they are going to... It's going to be a very entertaining match. It could be by far the most entertaining match that we get all weekend with these two, just because of the closeness and the way that their play styles. The players are really good. The Hangzhou, I think, the biggest thing, like I said, with Hangzhou is they have IDK, and then I think their DPS lines are pretty even between the rotating of agilities. Shax and KSF, and then Adora Godsby, and Adora Godsby and Crystal, if he's playing at all. What to watch out for in this one? I want to see Los Angeles contain Gushue a little bit more and keep him a little bit more under wraps than they did. Also, I want to see if they learned anything from... Hangzhou did handle Shax a little bit better the last time they played. Well, Shax wasn't there the first time they played. Handled his Sombra really, really well. I want to see if they can do that again, and I want to see if Los Angeles learned anything from that and have figured out different ways to, counter what Hangzhou is doing and to continue their upward climb. And same thing with Hangzhou. You could be seeing this matchup later on down the line. And I'm not saying that in some kind of weird way here. I did not wake up and sniff a bunch of glue, guys. I did pick Seoul. I did say these two teams, you could see them down the line. And I said Houston has a shot tonight. So I don't know. Maybe I got heat stroke when I was outside this afternoon because it is fucking hot here. I don't know. Aliens have taken over my brain. I don't know what's going on. But no, I think later on down the line, maybe we'll see it in the playoffs. But a key factor... Another key factor, I just saw this, is going to be, other than Los Angeles handling Gushue, I think it's going to be when it comes down to the 3-3 thing, the Zarya play. And I think I have to go with when they run Godsby. I'm becoming a Spark fan. If I did it, I watched that match like 3 times, and I was playing around with it on the replay viewer. It was fantastic the last time they played. I'm just becoming a fan of some of these players, and just, they're ridiculous. And, the Valiant are ridiculous, too, in their own way. They do some different things. I think it's going to be very entertaining. I think it's going to be, this is another on the edge. I kind of went back and forth, like, the Valiant can do this, Hangzhou can do that. Hangzhou is inconsistent with, some of their, following up on some things, like on ultimates, your grabs and your EMPs and stuff like that. And I'm like, but in a straight up brawl, I kind of like Hangzhou better than I like the Valiant, just because of, I think Gushue is for sure, I'm not going to go there yet, but I want to see how he plays in stage 4 when we have different meta, allegedly. But he's pretty much my vote for MVP and Rookie of the Year. So you can mark that down. Twilight and, the whole Vancouver team you could kind of throw in there. But I vote for Gushue. Here's the thing. Back to my actual point. They're watching Hangzhou has mastered the variations and the straight up, which I don't think we're going to get too much of. You might get it here and there, depending on who picks what map and what they think they want to run. Los Angeles with Fact Fiction, they're going to try and play more Reinhardt, I think, because he's a great Reinhardt. I haven't really dove into his Winston play or his Wrecking Ball play or anything like that. They're gonna. I think Hangzhou has the upper hand in just a straight up 3-3 fight. We're not going to see that. Not that I'm depressed. We're not going to see that. I do think Kariv has to have a big showing in this match. He has to hit those clutch sleep darts. Getting Sombras. Getting those nades in so they can't heal up during a grab. Things like just those things that you do on Ana. I think he's a big key for them. And if they get in a situation where they're picking the maps, they have to pick obviously the ones, not that it's going to matter because they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. They want to be able to play Reinhardt, I think. with Fact Fiction, who's also really good. And I don't understand why my team didn't bring, him up to the main roster when one of their biggest issues was main tank. But anyway, we have Fate now, and whatever. Okay, so my prediction in this, I am going to go with the Spark, 3-2, last point on the last control map, 99-99. I'm going all the way to there. It's going to be that. I mean, I could be wrong, but anyway, that's my pick for this one. So, overall, I have Vancouver winning 3-1, New York 3-2 over Shanghai, Seoul 3-2 over San Francisco, and Hangzhou all the way to the end taking the Valiant. I am on drugs today probably because I picked 3-3-2 matches, but, sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes, maybe I'm hoping for the best. The two that I think could go wonky would be today's games. New York could 4-0 and Vancouver could 4-0. Hey, the Shock could even do that too. I'm picking against the Shock because I'm going to be different. I'm not going Bren different, but, a little bit different nonetheless. But anyway, all right, that's going to be it for today, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. All you guys on YouTube, thanks for all of the views and all the, the subscriptions and all the comments and all the stuff. And keep them coming. We want more comments. We want to keep the conversation going. Don't forget, guys, we do have a Discord channel. We do have our Sunday night back cap every Sunday night, usually between 10 and 10:30 p.m. We're live. We answer questions. A couple of you guys have come in. We talk about, the week's goings on in Overwatch League, give our observations and all that. And, we want interaction. We want to talk to you guys about, about the league. So, also, another quick side note. Anyone that's in the Northeast Ohio, Cleveland area, please hit us up on Twitter. Talk to us. We want to get some viewing parties, different viewing things going. We want to get involved in our community, in our city, because watching the homestand, and yes, they do have a team, but there are other cities that don't have teams. We want to get like a community of Overwatch League fans together where we can go and talk about Overwatch League and have some fun. Just like some of these, watch parties and, I don't know if there's a chance of a team coming here or whatever. That would be great. Fantastic. I would be way in. Please comment down below. Talk to us. Hit us up on Twitter. All of our links for all of our things are down below. And I am setting up a Discord server for a Northeast Ohio / Cleveland based Overwatch League fan group. So we can all get in there and talk and, organize some stuff. Don't forget to hit a like and a subscribe. All of you guys on YouTube, I already said that. Anyone that's listening on a podcatcher or the podcast version, please give us a rating. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what we could do to improve. We also have a Patreon page. We are working on things as we speak. We're going to be getting some stuff up on there. Anything you guys can do to help, because we want to bring you guys, our best, and we want to go out and into the world of Overwatch League and, go to some next year when we get into the traveling and home games and all that. We want to go and, talk about our experience there to get, going to Toronto or going to, Washington or Philadelphia or New York or, even going to Florida for me, and hanging out with the Mayhem guys. Or, wherever our travels will take us, possibly being able to get to the grand finals next year, and I will not plan a vacation around it like I do every year somehow. Anyway, all of you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the matches. We will see you before the semifinals in some way, shape, or form. You guys have a good afternoon, and we will talk to you later.